Coming up on Tekzilla, what's new in digital cameras? We've got the scoop from PMA 2009, everything new in digital imaging. Cleaning CDs in the right way, don't drop cash on a stupid cleaner, and a big happy pile of your viewer questions. Grits or Girl Scout cookies, grab yourself a bowl and get ready, because Tekzilla starts now. This episode of Tekzilla is made possible by Squarespace, GoDaddy.com, and Netflix.com. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Welcome to Tekzilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the best of the tech you already own.
Yes, indeed. Whether you're a beginner or someone who's been around the technology block a few times, if you've got a question about your PC, HD TV, online security, or the best sushi in San Francisco, we've got an answer for you.
And if we don't, we're going to track down somebody who does. Hey, before we get rolling, I want to remind everybody out there, if you haven't backed up your most important files, do it right now. Seriously, while you're watching, just go. Hit the button. Sorry, I have a feeling somebody out there is about to have a major hard drive crash.
Or your spidey senses tingling?
There's disturbance in the force.
A disturbance in the hard drive force is going on today.
I don't know what it is. I'm going to back up my stuff just as soon as we're done taping, but you and Roger were going on and on and on this morning about the Watchmen movie.
Yeah, speaking of comic book characters.
No spoilers, but did it live up to Roger? I mean, Roger alone was an engine of hype and enthusiasm.
Yes. I know. We have been talking about it leading up into the premiere night for a very long time. I loved it.
Watchmen.
I thought it was great. There were some parts where I was like, oh, this is interesting the way they did that.
Right.
But for the most part, I mean, it was really very close to the feeling of the original. I mean, you know, obviously since it is a movie, they had to cut out a lot of parts and change things a little bit, or a major bit, depending. But I thought it stayed very true to the feeling of the graphic novel, which I thought was important. I actually wrote a more kind of thorough review about it, without spoilers, mind you, on my own personal blog, so you guys can check that out if you want to know how I really felt about it.
One little mistake on a Top Chef email, and you're going to be no spoilers.
This one spoiled the ending of Top Chef for me.
I didn't know you were a Top Chef fan.
You should just keep it in mind that
I'll assume you watch all television.
You should never talk about something the day it happens.
It was the day after.
It's a good geek.
It was like 2 days after.
No, it was not. It was the next day because I had it on TiVo. It was the night that we did the photo shoot thing.
I'm so sorry.
And that was the night of. Never mind. I won't harp on it too much. Did you get a chance to see the movie though?
No.
No.
Baby, small creature, not quite ready for the Watchmen.
Yeah, you can't bring a baby. You can't bring a small child at all to that film.
I'm
so
not
good on
letting
you.
my baby anywhere near the comedian.
Oh, and hey, if you are like totally into Watchmen and can't get enough, don't miss out on iFanboy this week. They interviewed the cast of the film, which is so rad.
I just want to see Ron on iFanboy
like
being like, because we're actually about
we don't have a
tech and
show
stuff.
about that.
We get to interview other cool people.
Okay.
You got to interview like NASA people last week.
I know, that was fun.
Do you want to be like, so Mr. Crudup, what was it like acting naked?
Yeah, he was kind of naked. There was definitely some blue penis there. I'm just saying.
Can we say that on this show?
We can totally say penis. Penis is an anatomical part of the human body. So you keep your hard drive spinning all the time.
On my desktop.
On your desktop,
I
right?
kind of let the OS do its thing.
Well, our first question on the show has to do with just that. Take it away, Will.
Hey guys, I have a desktop with 5 hard drives, 1 Velociraptor and 4 1TB drives in RAID 5. What are the advantages to spinning the drives down? As it is right now, they often take 10 to 15 seconds to spin back up after they've been asleep. Thanks, love the show.
Really, Will, saving energy is a definite benefit of spinning down a hard drive, but it's even better if you can get it into like sleep or standby mode, and it's why most laptops have that option auto-enabled when they run off their battery. What's the difference? For like a 1 terabyte Caviar black drive, you're talking about 8 watts when it's reading and writing, maybe 6 watts in standby, and a single watt if you actually have it shut all the way down. Now, for desktops, energy savings, definitely the big one, but you also are going to cut down a little bit on drive wear and tear. I wouldn't get too obsessed about this because the mean time between failure, or mean time before failure, which is going to be a huge hundreds of thousands of hours of number, your Velociraptor has a mean time between failure of 1.4 million hours, which is something near 160 years. Now, if anybody out there in the audience has a drive puke recently, you can laugh at the estimated MTBF, but
it's more like a year and a half tops before they're like, meh, tired, done.
It's the law of averages, and sometimes you're on the low end of the bell curve. The big difference, the biggest thing you're going to notice by shutting down those drives is actually cutting down on the amount of heat inside your system.
Yeah, absolutely. Too much heat is a bad thing for drives. It's one reason why we prefer to leave a gap between hard drives in our systems. If things get way too hot, your drive can fail, especially older ones. The system won't boot or crash. Newer, faster performance hard drives generate a lot of exothermic energy, and if you don't have good cooling, it stays in the case, building up even more heat, which in turn could affect the processor, the video card, and even the chipset. So yeah, spinning down will cut down on the power, wear and tear, and also the heat. But honestly, if you have a well laid out machine with plenty of cooling and use it a lot, just set the spin down time a little longer, like an hour of no use before it spins down all the way. And hey, we love your video questions, and they're so easy to make. Just record yourself in front of a video camera asking that question. Make sure it's no longer than 15 seconds, upload that puppy to YouTube, and yes, of course, you'll need an account, but they're free and totally simple to set up. Email us a link to your fabulous video question with video question in the subject line. We can't wait to do an all video questions show someday. Wouldn't that be cool?
It would be cool, but we need your video questions to do it.
Yeah, we need them first. Still
to come, digital camera maven Lori Grunin has the word on new camera tech coming out this year. She's back from PMA 2009, the biggest convention in digital imaging. But first,
hey, we want to take this time now to thank one of today's sponsors, Squarespace. And here to tell you more about them is one of the masterminds behind Revision 3, Dave Prager.
Hey there, it's David Prager, co-founder of Revision 3. I wanted to come on here to Tekzilla to thank one of the sponsors that makes the show possible, and that sponsor is Squarespace. If you haven't heard of Squarespace, they're a web publishing platform as well as a hosting platform. What they allow you to do is basically create a website and put it online, and they provide tools that make you able to tool it around to look like pretty much anything you want, as well as all kinds of functionalities that you'd expect from any website. If you've been on the web, you can see all the different things that you can do online, from viewing videos, submitting videos, having a platform to say things, show images, suck in feeds from different sites you might have online. What this allows you to do is use their features to drag and drop and pull in things, change color palettes and all kinds of design features to really customize it and make it look the way you want. It's really cool because it does all of the back-end coding for you and lets you control just the front end and be really in control of what you're doing without really being able to have the technical chops or needing the technical chops to do the back-end stuff. And even better, Squarespace has put together a special deal to get 10% off your entire order for the lifetime that you use Squarespace. If you go to the site, squarespace.com, use the promo code TEKZ, that's T-E-K-Z, you'll get 10% off for the lifetime that you use Squarespace to create your own site, blog, professional business site, anything like that. Check it out, squarespace.com.
Welcome to this week's freebie download pick. A free program that we find useful, fun, or incredibly interesting. Check out Lightbox Free. You can snap a dozen digital pictures in seconds, but correcting them can take forever, especially if you're intimidated by traditional photo editing tools. But even if you're all about Photoshop, the GIMP, or Paint.net, you should check out Lightbox Free. The quick edit mode in this image editor is amazingly easy to use thanks to sliders and real-time corrections that let you see what you're doing instantly. Tweaking colors, removing red eyes, souping up saturation, and eliminating odd things in the frame. Sometimes you need to do some photo editing. If you want a fun, fast, and free tool to touch up your vacation photos, even if you shot them in RAW on your DSLR, check out Lightbox Free. Canon, Fuji, Kodak, Nikon, Olympus, Pentax, Samsung, Sony. Every year, the biggest names in imaging gather at the Photo Marketing Association's International Convention and Trade Show. And if you're talking new digital cameras, it's a bigger deal than CES. Joining us today is our favorite digital imaging expert, CNET's senior editor, Lori Grunin, and she's got the scoop on PMA 2009. Lori, welcome back.
Hello.
How's it going?
Okay. It's good to be home.
So how big is the PMA in terms of the whole digital imaging industry?
Oh, well, for the U.S., it's the biggest show. There's a bigger international show called Photokina that happens every other year. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I don't get to go to that.
So this is the big one. So what were the big, I mean, because everybody's there in every corner of the industry. What was the big, what was the scoop, the buzz? What had people talking at PMA this year?
The biggest thing that people were talking about are the new Sony and Panasonic cameras. Sony has a new Mega Zoom.
Is that the one with the 20x, like some
HX1,
ridiculous?
HX1, yes. Well, it's a 20x zoom. Thank God they didn't go out to infinity, like a lot of the vendors are. But the HX1 it's a Mega Zoom. It's got a CMOS instead of a CCD in it, which isn't they're not the first ones to do that. Canon is with the SX1IS. But it has a really interesting mode called dynamic wide panorama, in which you basically, you press the shutter and you pan the camera across the scene, and it automatically stitches together a panorama.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it takes advantage of they have a ultra fast shooting mode in the camera, and it takes advantage of that. It just keeps shooting until you stop, and then stitches it together to fit in a specific size.
Can you do like a 360-degree panorama, or how much of a panorama can you do?
Well, you could do a 360-degree if you go fast enough, because basically it's got a maximum resolution of, I can't remember the exact dimensions, but something like 7,000 pixels. So, if you spin around 360 degrees and it can fit it into that 7,000 pixels, then it can do it. But you probably will get like the blurry landscape.
That's it's pretty wild, because like Sony's doing a 20x lens, Pentax did like a 24x. They're both optical
24x is the new length in mega zooms. Olympus actually has a 26x, but most of them are doing 24s.
Are those usable? Do you need a tripod for that?
They are surprisingly usable. The problem, and going that far out, yes, you really do need a tripod, or you need to brace yourself. And so it's not so bad for people sitting in the stands at their kid's soccer game, where you're not moving around a lot, and you can just sort of brace and hold the camera and shoot. But yeah, I refer to them as stalker zooms. Those and like the 72x camcorder zooms that Panasonic has. Really, when you break it down, all the ways the limits of the stabilization and how difficult it is when you get out that long to keep whatever it is you're shooting in the frame.
Right.
Because a little movement and they're gone, and then you have to look up and it's like, oh God, where is it? So really, when you think about it, you have to be sitting still, watching a subject that's sitting still on a tripod, and really, what does that make you? That makes you a stalker.
That's, well, actually, fortunately, no one can really see into my windows in my neighborhood, but you live in Manhattan, so
with that lens, you see through other people's apartments.
That's a really frightening concept. I heard Micro Four Thirds, was that another big thing coming up at this year's show?
Well, actually, Micro Four Thirds, Panasonic announced they call them hybrid cameras, which I hate that term, but it means an interchangeable lens supporting point and shoot. So there's no mirror box, which is what defines an SLR.
Right.
So it just directly images on the sensor, but they have interchangeable lenses.
Oh, now, interesting.
Olympus and Panasonic announced the standard last summer, I think it was, and it's for a specific sensor size and a specific mount. But Panasonic released their first camera in the fall. It was the G1, but it lacked the ability to shoot video. And so the big deal was that the GH1, which they announced at the show, can shoot video. And why that's a big deal is because when you have interchangeable lenses, you have better quality glass, so you can get a really shallow depth of field. And the one thing that distinguishes consumer video is that everything is sharp. Everything has equal weight in your visual in the visual scene. Whereas like the 5D Mark II, which introduced video, when you can put these really high quality lenses on the cameras that are a lot cheaper than a professional camcorder, you can get depth of field effects. And that's got everybody really excited.
Are these cameras as expensive as because I was looking at somebody just sent me a link to some more amazing video from the Canon 5D Mark II. Are these a little more consumer priced?
Well, that's a good question. Panasonic has not released pricing on the GH1.
Right.
Which, of course, will make all the difference. I think if it's still under $1,000, then it'll be really good.
That'll be amazing, actually. Any other big announcements that caught your eye, or what were your favorite things at the show that we haven't talked about yet?
My favorite things tend to be sort of the funny things, as opposed to the products. Like, everybody has announced not everybody, but a lot of rugged cameras. It used to be that Olympus's, like 1030 SW, that series were the only real rugged options you had. But now Canon announced the D10, Panasonic announced one, the TS series. And when you saw the displays, everybody had them like at the bottom of tanks Olympus put together this, pressure arm showing, crushing their. They rebranded their series Stylish Tough, but Canon had these faux dioramas where the cameras were like sitting on top of rocks in a stream bed. Really not what I just thought they were so wimpy and didn't, dangling in front of a faux cliff, not really in danger.
No giant crushing metal underwater arm action.
Exactly.
Maybe Canon's just more aesthetic than everybody else about that.
Oh, have you seen those cameras? They look like little submarines. They're not real pretty.
I've actually seen people. It's always amazes me to see people, because I know guys who surf and take their cameras in waterproof containers with them, which, most of them I know also figure out a way to like glue a strap to the camera container that then goes like around their chest or something, because as soon as you're holding several $100s worth of a camera on a surfboard, you're going to get wiped out. But are these cameras effectively just, in terms of performance, just indistinguishable now from the rest of the point and shoot lineups?
You mean the rugged ones?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're pretty much, they have all the same insides.
Mm-hmm.
They just have better, water seals around the flash cards and battery slot. They have some sort of cover over the lens, like a plastic thing, which you may lose some light, and they may produce slightly blurrier images because of that. But ultimately, they're pretty much equivalent to most point and shoots.
So one of the things that comes out at PMA are concept cameras, kind of like you think of GM or Ferrari or some. I guess Ferrari doesn't really do concept vehicles. But what were the big concept cameras at PMA 2009?
Well, the big announcement, I spoke about the hybrid cameras earlier from Panasonic. Panasonic and Olympus, as I said earlier, announced that Micro Four Thirds standard. Olympus has yet to ship a camera, but they showed their prototype under glass at Photokina and now at PMA. Still haven't really said when they're going to ship. There was just sort of a note on the sign with the camera saying summer 2009. So we can all woo woo. The thing about the Olympus camera is it looks a lot different than Panasonic's, as well as Samsung also announced their hybrid camera. It's the NX series, and there's like no details on it. All they had prototypes under glass, but it looked very, very similar to the Panasonic. That's the first thing that struck us. Whereas the Olympus looks more like an old-fashioned rangefinder. It's definitely a lot more interesting looking. Some people like it, some people don't, but it's definitely more novel. And of course, then there's the Fuji 3D camera under glass, which I didn't get a chance to play with it, but I looked at the pictures, and they're like little holograms, and they're actually kind of cool.
That's actually, so Fuji really is going to try to market an actual 3D camera, and it's so no glasses, no weird sort of stereoscopic viewing system, but an actual 3D looking image?
Yes.
Wow.
And the kind that, moves when you go like this. It's
like children's books from the 70s.
Yes, right, exactly. But the camera itself is kind of odd, and it's clearly never going to be more than an inch, because it's just oddly designed and
Strap this giant box and go where. Yeah, going away from niches real quick. 2 last questions. Any big news in consumer DSLRs this year? Seems like the hybrid cameras are kind of like the big deal.
Well, interestingly, nobody made any DSLR announcements at PMA.
Okay.
Given that a whole slew of the entry-level models are, in terms of their product cycle, they're ready to be replaced. That was really weird. However, I can pretty much guarantee you over the next few months, you'll start seeing the announcements for the replacements.
Yeah, I was going to say, because like Canon and Nikon announced all of their new cameras for the year. So, while we're kind of working our way down, what's your pick right now for the best like sub $200 digital camera?
I'd go with the Canon A590IS. It's not an ultra compact. It's got a little grip, and it runs off AA batteries, and but it's very popular. Lots of people like it. We like it.
They take beautiful
nice
pictures.
It's very good, and it's in part because they're not trying to shove all that into a tiny little camera. It's just, it's about $150 to $175 or so.
That's a pretty good deal.
It is.
Any other favorite camera picks before we go?
In general,
well, outside of the camera,
I like all the expensive ones. What can I say?
I'm obsessed with the 5D Mark II right now, which is I can sell my truck and buy one of those and a lens to go with it.
I really enjoy shooting with it, but lens. But you have to have a really good lens for it, and those are pretty pricey. It's the
HD video is amazing. You know what, Lori, amazing stuff as always. We're going to link to your reviews, so basically a section of your reviews up at the CNET website. Amazing stuff. Lori, I want to thank you again so much for taking the time to talk to us. Lori Grunin, CNET.com. We'll have more links to Lori's work up on the show notes.
Lovely as always.
It's time now for our Netflix-sponsored movie of the week. This week, Zardoz. This cult classic takes place in the 23rd century where society has been split into two castes, the effete Eternals and the barbaric Brutals. When a brutal, Zed, played by Sean Connery no less, begins to question the god, the fate of both societies is called into question. If you enjoy allegorical commentary on class structure and religion, or topless Sean Connery, then put Zardoz in your Netflix queue today. And don't forget to check out the other 90,000 titles available at Netflix, including a ton of Blu-ray titles, free shipping both ways to your home. Did we mention they come to your doorstep? And they got over 40 shipping centers in the U.S. That means almost all deliveries happen in a single business day. Big, happy flow of movies, people. Plans start at $4.99, but we got a hookup for you. You can get a free, no-risk, 2-week trial membership at www.netflix.com/Tekzilla. And you know what? You'll be helping out us while you're helping yourself to a big, happy pile of movies.
Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, Web in Mail. Web in Mail does one thing and does it well. Sends you web pages to your Outlook, Outlook Express, or BlackBerry device. This is how it works. Open up a new message and set the contact to browse at webinmail.com. In the subject line, type in what website you want to browse within your email client, and Web in Mail will write back with the website of your choice in the body of the email. Also handy is the ability to use search terms in the subject line as well, such as Google:"query" or Google image:"query, so you can get all the search results you need sent directly to your mail. This seems like it would be really handy if you wanted to browse a website or do a search at work or school and didn't want people to know what you were looking for. I'm sure you can find some good practical applications for it, you smart little devils you. So if you need to browse a website in your email or on the go with your BlackBerry, check out Web in Mail today.
Coming up next, more viewer questions, people, so stay put. Let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors, GoDaddy.com. You want to make an impact online? GoDaddy.com is what you need. .com names for as little as $1.99. World-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and quite a bit more. Your website visitors, prospects, and customers are wary of websites and online businesses that aren't what they claim to be, and worried that their personal and financial information might fall into the wrong hands. Turn your visitors' concerns into a competitive advantage with the ironclad protection of a GoDaddy.com secure certificate. Plus, entering code TEK1, that's TEK1 when you check out, you'll score an additional 10% off your entire order. Some restrictions apply. See the site for details. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com and use that code TEK1 and you'll be helping out Tekzilla when you do it.
Looking for a magical blend of taste and refreshment? The My Custom Tea, Veronica's Berry Zinger, is just the thing for you. Check it out at www.adagio.com/Tekzilla. Adagio also has teapots, teaware, and tons of other unique loose leaf teas. A tin of Veronica's Berry Zinger and an Ingenuity teapot would make for a perfect studying gift. Get your tea on at www.adagio.com/Tekzilla. Cleaning CDs and DVDs. I bet Mr. I spill coffee and soda all over my desk all the time knows a little bit something about that. About that.
There's a question?
Oh yeah, there's a question. Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking about the time that I did that Mahalo Daily episode where I spilled all the soda into the Apple keyboard, and I'm like, all you have to do is wash it, and it's better. And then it totally didn't work, and everyone pointed and laughed, and the internet was up in arms over, you idiot, you can't put that in the dishwasher, that won't work. Some keyboards will work, but not those. And then I was all like, whatever. But anyway, Jason writes in, do CD, DVD, radial cleaners really work? Are motorized cleaners $200 worth the money, or can I get away with a manual cleaner for $15? Jason in Winnipeg, Manitoba. If you're talking cleaning fingerprints or coffee off the surface, or say peanut butter, for example, you really don't need a cleaner, manual or motorized for that matter. CDs and DVDs are made from polycarbonate plastic, pretty much the same stuff used for bulletproof glass. You can get peanut butter off that pretty well. As my lovely hand model Patrick will demonstrate, cleaning CDs and DVDs is easy. What you need is a clean cloth, seen here. Although you pulled that out of your pocket, so I don't know how clean that really is.
It's still clean.
It's clean? All right.
Except for the coffee I cleaned up with it this morning.
Except for that. You can use a simple green or orange cleaner or dish soap or spit, technically. You can use rubbing alcohol. Just spritz the disc, then wipe the disc clean from the center out. Thank you, Patrick. That looks lovely.
You're welcome.
You did an excellent job. You should be on a QVC show.
Everyone should have dreams.
Everyone should have aspirations.
Coming up now, we got the most amazing DVD cleaner you have ever seen. Forget about Exactly. So if you're talking like $200,000 to $6,000 for motorized scratch removers, unless you plan on adding it as a service to your DVD rental shop, you're wasting your cash. I own your basic $40 Automax Skip Doctor because I found out I had a lot of scratch discs when digitizing like 900 CDs in my collection. It was just...
Don't those just buff a layer off the top to kind of...
That's how you remove scratches. That's how anything that removes scratches from the surface of a CD or DVD, like not like
Buffing,
cleaning,
right?
you basically,
Not so much.
you get your clean rag and you wipe, right? When there's a scratch on the DVD or CD, you basically need to remove sort of the top layer. Basically, you buff it out.
Yeah.
Right? You can do
Buff it
that
out.
with toothpaste, diatomaceous earth, or baking soda. A little spot of that, a little bit of water, and again, rub from the inside of the disc to the outside of the disc.
See that? I was wrong this whole time. I always thought that the reason you put toothpaste on a scratch CD or DVD was to fill in the gap so the laser skipped over it without skipping.
Well, ideally, you want to actually remove the scratch.
I get what you're saying, but I just had that all wrong in my head all these years.
Sorry.
Oh, it's good. No, it's good. I mean, I would rather know the truth, wouldn't I?
As soon as you cleaned your CD or DVD, you'd have to refill your scratch with toothpaste again. Yeah. Which would just be a vicious
I would just leave
cycle.
it there until it dried and got all minty fresh on my CDs all the time, and it was like...
Nothing worse than having a minty fresh lens that you can't use until you crack open your CD player and clean it.
You're right.
Don't, by the way, ever try to clean the lens on your CD player or DVD player unless it's broken. But seriously, $40, they work great. You will eventually wear out the little wheels if you have several hundred highly damaged discs, or get your toothpaste on.
Get your toothpaste on.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's a good thing to know.
In terms of cleaning, do not spend money on anything for cleaning CDs or DVDs.
What is with the $6,000 one? Is that like an industrial strength, like you would have that at a DVD rental place or something?
They're actually pretty amazing. I can't remember, I want to say RTI is a company that makes them. It's got 4 heads inside of it. You insert the disc in there and it automatically polishes any scratches out of the surface, like 30 or 90 seconds.
Try not to break your thing.
Yeah, I'll take care of it.
No,
or is
I'll
it
take
just,
care of it.
Are you feeling OCD?
It's bothering me. Never mind.
Last week we got into a discussion about how to get batteries out of remotes and other devices, and Elias and Super Steve-O each sent in this very handy tip.
All you need to do is wrap some Scotch tape around the batteries to make little pull tabs. Here's a picture that Steve-O sent in to demonstrate.
This is brilliant.
Yeah, it definitely beats my technique of beating the remotes against my wrist or hand until they come flying out across the room.
That technique? You got the batteries all the way across the studio last week.
No, I didn't. They're making that up. Well, thanks you guys for sending in that suggestion. That's a nice little handy, easy to do at home way to kind of...
Clean, simple, easy. You rock.
Done. That's what we like seeing.
And for all of you watching, 2 things. First of all, the first Peeps sighting of the year has begun. They are evil and must be stopped. Also, we live on your questions, so email us, tekzilla@revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos, you ask us, we'll do it, but we need those emails. So don't be shy, send them into tekzilla@revision3.com.
Even better, send us in a video question. Think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on our show. Just keep it to 15 seconds, upload it to YouTube, and send us a link in an email with video question in the subject line. And hey, all you video game fans, and I know there's a bunch of you out there, Revision 3 is excited to announce our latest show, Co-op. Co-op is a brand new show all about video games from the guys who brought you the One-Up Video Game Show. Each week they will gather a group of top video game journalists and developers to talk everything games. Check it out Tuesday at revision3.com. And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. Thank you guys so much for watching the Peep Torture!
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
We'll see you next week on Tekzilla. Soon you're going to be a peep zombie. And you know what that means.
Peeps.
Here, you want a flat
Peeps. Peeps. CDs and DVDs are made from parley carbonate.
Parlay.
Parlay! CDs and DVDs are made from polycarbonate. I can say that word. 3, 2. Last week we got into a bit of discussion. Why can't I? 3, 2.
Still the gun video.
We don't have to do what he says. We just won't do it. We'll just do what we want. He doesn't have to.
Veronica, let's burn this motherfucker to the ground.
Let's get naked! Looking for a magical blend of taste and refreshment?
Cortify!
Cortify! Cortify!
I'm so sorry.
Cortify! 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 I expect there to be unicorns in my immediate field of vision at some point.
Thank you, Jordan.
Cortify! Baconify! I love you, editors. Tequila high!
Margaritafy.